Been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
All right, well, it is officially here, our first ever Week 18 of the NFL season. It is upon us. A lot of scenarios that are happening for a lot. Did you guys see the crazy scenario where if Jacksonville somehow beats, I think it's the Colts, the Raiders and Chargers could come together and just take a knee the whole entire game to tie, and they will both make playoffs.
Man, if they did that, I think every fan in the stadium would jump over the freaking railing, charge the field, and swing at anyone they can get their hands on.
Like I wanted to ask you guys before we get deep into this podcast. Like, do you think coaches think about it? Like, hey, like, should I shoot him a text as an organization? Like, hey, we both could win out of this. Like, we could both go to the playoffs here. Like, you help me, I'll help you. Let's be real though, Jacksonville's not beating the Colts, but
it's a fair proposition.
Let's face it. Freaking Rona is ruining everything right now.
They did beat the Bills.
Rona, the Eagles game, they moved the Eagles-Cowboys game to Saturday night, 8 o'clock. I am not going to watch it because it's going to be a waste. 12 Eagles have the Ronavirus. They're not going to be playing. The Cowboys have several players now with Rona. Tony Romo's – what's Tony Romo's broadcast partner? He's got COVID. Jim Nantz. He's got COVID. Tony Romo's getting a substitute. It's just – Rona is ruining everything. The Klein house now has Rona in it. My son, who's down in the dungeon, chained to a wall, possibly spread it to my wife and myself. So we're waiting for our results patiently. Ty, the only one that's not vaccinated in the house, is just high on the hog, man. It's like he has that shield around him.
Let's go, boys.
I have slight symptoms. My wife has slight symptoms, but we'll see what happens. We're going to ride it and ride it out.
Yeah.
Ace, you've been through it.
Yep.
I think you gave it to me through the microphone.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But it's ruining sports. It's ruining everything. I'm sick and tired of seeing it. And unfortunately, I seriously don't think this is going away anytime soon. I think they need to come up with a plan B. And I don't know what that plan B is. But, right now they're making it the vax versus the unvaxxed. And there's another variant out already. I mean, France has another variant. I mean, I don't understand.
Oh, gosh.
It's like, what the hell is going on with this? I mean, if you think about it, we've had every letter in COVID except for the V so far named as one of the variants. So maybe V is the one where your eyes bleed, your nose falls off, and your brain explodes. I mean, I don't know.
No.
Crazy week. A lot of stuff to dive in with you guys. Guys, we have Packers, Aaron Rodgers coming out saying, I'm playing. I don't care who we're playing. We could be playing the worst team in the league. We're playing. You have the Saints and Niners fighting for that last playoff spot. You have the Bengals, crazy scenario where they can somehow become the number 1 seed.
Doesn't Burrow have COVID?
Oh,
does he?
Yeah.
No.
Burrow has
Yes.
COVID.
Does he?
Garoppolo might not be back, so the Saints could potentially get gifted a win if they can beat the Falcons.
Right
Trey
now,
Lance looked pretty good though last week. I must say, they did play the Texans. Don't get me wrong. But
and Tennessee is playing this week with Henry. Henry's been practicing and back.
a lot going on, guys.
JJ Watt's possibly coming back for Arizona.
The only thing I'm saying right now is
okay. Keep going.
what's nice is the Rams are fighting for the division. So it's not like the Cowboys situation where they might just not play their starters. They're playing the Niners strong, right? And they also moved the Saints game to the 4:00 slot with the Niners.
Yeah, they moved the Saints game this week, but last week when we needed it to move, they don't move it.
Yeah, it's funny. But so they'll both be playing at the same time. So guys, all I'm saying is if we make it in the playoffs, watch for the upset. That's all I'm saying. Defense wins championships. A lot to dive in. Let me ask you guys with the first question we want to talk about tonight.
The Cowboys,
they
suck?
No, I was going to ask you about which team which team showed you guys the most this week. If you had to pick a team, one team that you think showed you the most out of this week that shined.
None of them.
No?
To be honest with you, I think the NFC
What about the Cardinals?
I
don't think the Cardinals...
No, I think the NFC is wide open, to be honest with you. I think every team in the NFC has a flaw. You look at Green Bay, they have a flaw. Other than Devontae Adams,
Special teams.
they really don't have anything. Special teams is horrible. Their defense really isn't that good. I mean, they're getting help on the offensive line. Look at Tampa Bay. I don't see Tampa Bay getting by the first round. I mean, Tampa Bay might play the Rams or something like that. Tampa Bay might be in trouble.
Do you know that they said if the Saints somehow make the playoffs and upset the Rams and have to play the Bucks, who they already swept 2 times that are beatable, and they already swept the Aaron Rodgers.
I think the Eagles.
I can honestly.
That's why
that's where I was going. Go ahead, Ace. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Eagles. You can. Oh, yeah, I think it was the Eagles. The Saints need a win too, but you called it earlier, Chris. You thought they could run off so many straight to finish off the year. They pretty much did.
Yeah.
And they're winning the games that you have to win. And their offensive line and running the ball more.
God, yeah. And that's a team that I could see being like a Tampa Bay and has a big, a long run in the playoffs. I can see them being a sleeper team that everyone looks by because they're a low seed. But
yeah,
right now they're playing great football. They're ranked in the top 2 in almost every offensive category. Their offensive line is gelling and playing the best it's ever been. The defense, I mean, they have a little bit of a weakness on defense, but their front defensive line is stacked. They're going to shut down the run. You're going to have to throw on them.
Yep.
And I just think every team, even Arizona beat Dallas, who Dallas basically...
That was a fumble.
Dallas beat themselves, do you think about it? I mean, they had that same referee team that threw 11 penalties for Thanksgiving. They have 21 penalties in 2 games with that refereeing squad, whatever the hell you want to call them. I think they have it in for Dallas. I really do.
All right.
That was the same team?
Same team that threw over 20 penalties in the Thanksgiving game, the Raiders against the Cowboys.
Against the Raiders. Yeah, that was terrible.
It's horrible. These referees need to stop. I mean, and it seems like on every third down where we got a big gain, they threw a flag. You can honestly throw flags on every damn play if you wanted to call holding every play. You could. Easily.
I think, in my opinion, if I had to...
I can't read that. I don't have my glasses on.
Pick a team.
Yeah. If I had to pick a team, in my opinion, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. They rallied past the Chiefs 34-31. We said last week on this podcast, Chiefs are the best team in the league. They're going to the Super Bowl. Bengals were losing big early. Joe Burrow, I have his stat right here, 30 for 39, 446 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns. Put a cigar back in his mouth. He's popping out the 500 passing yards almost every week. Jamar Chase gets interviewed. Hey, you have a chance to beat Jefferson's record, most receptions and receiving yards by a rookie in the NFL. You know, you got 2 games left. You only need about, he passed it, right? He only needed like 240 yards and 2 games left. What does he do? 266 yards in 1 game, 3 touchdowns.
Let me ask you guys this. We talked about coach. We talked about coach of the year, and we talked about MVP and everything. Why is no one talking about Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow took a team that was horrible.
Horrible
and
franchise.
They really didn't fix their offensive line, and this guy is putting up stats that are just amazing for, a second-year quarterback?
Second-year quarterback who's coming off, it was an ACL tear that he had last year.
What does he have, 900 yards passing in 2 games?
If not more.
Yeah, something like that. It's ridiculous.
He's got almost 10 touchdowns in 2 games. He's got a rookie receiver that everybody said they will not have the same connection they had in college at LSU. They're proving people wrong. Their defense is playing great. Joe Mixon's playing great. They have great receivers. Coach of the year, you could throw him in there.
Plus, they have a lot of salary cap space.
You know, they went out.
Can only get better.
They went out and got good talent last year in the offseason. They signed Trey Henderson, who was a Saints defensive end. He's tied with the league in sacks.
And what happened to Baltimore? They were like 8-2 or something like that, and now Huntley's starting again?
They've talk about a complete opposite question. Which teams have not played out well? It's them. I mean, it's a host of others. Dallas recently, unfortunately. Going back to it, though, I think the 49ers are another team that could be somewhat scary if they can get a run. Well, they already have a run game, but depending if Garoppolo's healthy.
Watching Dallas is like going to the prom with the hottest girl in the freaking school, and you think everything's going to work out in your favor, and then you get a goodnight kiss on the cheek. That's the Cowboys.
Absolutely.
Every week it's a roller coaster ride with this damn team, and it drives me absolutely. One day my TV is just going to give me the middle finger emoji and it's going to shut off on me because I don't know what to do with this team. I really don't.
If I had to agree with Ace, a team that did let me down this week, nothing against Dallas. I like Dallas. I picked Dallas. Dallas has been one of the hottest teams in the NFC.
Dallas let me down again.
And I just think the consistency isn't there every week. We talk about it every single week on the podcast. Kyler Murray went in there, as I predicted on the podcast. That is Kyler Murray's world. He comes home. He dominated.
Yeah.
He ran well. They ran well. He passed well. He got the job done. I think Dallas played decent. They held the game close. They came back, right? Obviously, but
the
timeout.
Fumble, Dak's fumble killed us.
The timeouts weren't used wisely, I think.
The fumble at the end of the game. First of all, there was a delay of game plus a fumble, and they missed both of them. I mean, that kills. But first of all, you have a kicker who can't make extra points. I mean, that kills you from the start.
That's a great point, too.
That kills you. I mean, it's almost every game, Dallas struggles in the red zone, and I cannot stress that enough. If we do not turn that part of the game around, we're never going to win a playoff game. If you can't score touchdowns against Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Arizona, or the Rams, you're not going to win. You're not going to outkick them. And that shoots us in the foot every time. Our running game is trash. We can't run the ball anymore. So they're just basically saying, beat us with your run. We're going to drop coverage, and we're gonna make Dak try to feed it into tight windows, which Dak can't. Now he's become the check down king. He's Drew Brees 2.0.
Drew Brees was actually.
But I'm just saying, that kind of football aggravates me, where all you see is screen. You have 3 of the best receivers in the league, and you can't get the ball down the field?
Yeah. Chris has too much emotion to answer the question because the Cowboys clearly did not impress last
Cowboys
week.
are horrible. I guarantee right now, if the Cowboys win their first game at home, they'll be lucky.
Ace, who impressed you as far as team-wise and player-wise?
Oh, God. Player-wise, I thought Joe Burrow, again, going like you had mentioned that. Oh gosh, Hurts. I'm trying to think back of the game matchups and everything, and it's hard to think back that far.
But we talked about.
Rodgers. Watching the Packers offense is just watch one of their games once. Rodgers puts his team in a position to make a positive play, similar to like Brady, every time almost. He is dang near 100% when it comes to like managing the game,
and he's playing hurt.
But you're gonna, but if
scary.
you can force him to throw to other people than Davante Adams, you can beat them. And if you get pressure on him, if you have a good defensive line, like if they play the Saints or they play the Eagles or even the Cowboys team, if you can get pressure on Aaron Rodgers and take away Davante Adams with a safety, he's gonna be forced to throw it to unnamed receivers and his tight end group, which really isn't that good.
Yeah.
You can beat him.
But the things that we don't really see necessarily is before they snap the ball, he's already, because of him and like Brady, because of how much they know, they're able to like put blitz protections in place or putting guys so that they can get a little bit more extra time. But you're right, it doesn't always work all the time. But just watching him manage a game is it's impressive, and it's hard. They'll be hard to beat at home, but I think you're right. Special teams, like you mentioned with the Cowboys, the Packers. Field goal kicking, they've replaced the snapper and the long snapper like 2 or 3 times this year, the Packers. So there's been issues all over the field for multiple teams when it comes to field goals and just pressure. But
this is my hot take.
Performer. Go ahead.
Tampa Bay and Green Bay, neither one of them make the NFC Championship game.
Ooh.
New Orleans Saints do. Go ahead, Ace.
Continue. So do you think the Rams played well then?
No.
Or where do you think the Rams fit into
the Rams defensively and offensively, they're good. The problem is Stafford. Stafford has only thrown, 2 interceptions the first 8 games. He's thrown 11 the last, 4 or 5. If Stafford can turn it around, they have the weapons to beat anybody. But he's going back to his Detroit days. He's making too many mistakes. Now, that can be the same thing which is going on with Dak. Teams adjust, the defenses adjust, they learn how to play you, they don't blitz as much, they drop into coverage, they make them make the throws. And if you don't have a good running game, they're going to they can drop people back all day, and they're going to say, here, beat me with the run. If you can't beat them with the run to open up the pass game, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But Stafford...
What about the Raiders?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No.
That was a big win for them, beating the Colts.
The Raiders, the Steelers...
That head coach for them is actually in the running now for possibly having that job now.
Do the Raiders scare you?
No, but I think the Raiders can win.
I think Tennessee scares me. I think Kansas City scares me.
Tennessee doesn't scare me.
New England has a good defense. Offensively, they don't scare me. Even the Chargers, if the Chargers get in, the Chargers are one of those. The Chargers remind me of Tampa Bay from last year,
Whoever
too.
shows up.
They're good. They're good when they, I guess, I can't even say that because they haven't been in the playoffs. I don't know. That's my thought process. It must be the COVID.
Ace, who was your player? I know you were about to say, and then you got cut off.
It's hard to look at. I would say somebody. I like Eckler. I like what he's done for the Chargers. He's pretty much been their entire team for the most part. But it's such a quarterback-driven league that it's hard to go against what Burrow has done. Especially last week.
Let me ask you this: What's the NFL going to do? What's the NFL going to do if all these teams get in the playoffs and they're missing their best players?
Got to push the game back at least one day.
Well, Yeah, and honestly, I was
playoffs
going to
gotta
ask
play
this.
different.
I
yeah.
mean, are they seriously going to play a game if Aaron Rodgers has COVID, or Mahomes has a COVID, or Tom Brady has
No.
COVID? Do you think they're going to make these teams play?
as the fan of the other team, you're hoping they do, right?
I mean, the Super Bowl is going to be in a dome. It's in California. They can push it back. It's already February 13th. I mean, they could push it back to the end of February if they wanted. And it might be coming to Texas, by the way. Thank you very much,
I was going to
COVID.
say that's a whole nother topic. It could be moving altogether. What about the Patriots? I feel like they don't get any love, but they're running back.
They're going to be on the road
all year.
50 points.
They're going to be on the road. 50 points against the Jags.
Maybe they could. I mean, if the Bills play a bad team. I'm not sure who, but if both teams win, then the Bills clinch the division. It's hard to look at players. I mean, I could say a whole defense. I could say Josh Allen is a stud.
Yeah, you could even say Tom Brady, the way he led the team back against the Jets. You know, they could have gave up easily against a team. That was whooping
absolutely.
them.
They had that unnamed receiver step up.
Let me ask you guys this real quick. Continue to talk about players that shined. Right, you have Russell Wilson, who potentially could not be a Seahawk next year. Goes 20 for 29 with 4 touchdowns. Of course, it's against the Lions, but the Lions aren't an easy win. They beat them 51-29. Did Russell Wilson just give a good resume for his next team that he will play for next year?
His resume is already in stone. I mean, the guy's been to how many freaking championship games, how many Super Bowls?
Yeah.
Was that a good game for him, though, to say, I've still got it? Let's go.
I think he does have it. I just think, like every other team, I mean, they're having problems with injuries, COVID. I mean, all that drama out there with whether he's going, whether he's staying, whether Pete Carroll's going or staying. I mean, Minnesota has the same drama. They're a real good team. I mean, you look at all the teams all the games they could have won. I mean, they could easily have 11 wins.
An interesting thing, though, is he did stay on the field a couple minutes late, saying goodbye to some fans, making sure he signs with a lot of people.
He's not going to be. He's going to be in New York next year.
But as like not going to New York, I'm telling you. Now,
why do they wait all year though?
I know why.
Like that's what frustrates me. Why do you wait all year to put up this kind of performance?
That's like you have Rashad Penny, right? In the past 4 games, I think he's had almost 500 rushing yards, right? So you know Penny's playing excellent. You still have a good receiving corp. You have Metcalf. You still have Lockett. Do you want to leave? Like I get it. You know, I get it. Like I really want to know what happened with the Seahawks and Russ. Where Russ got to a point where he was like, if it's even true that I want to leave, I'm not happy here. You know, because they've always been contenders.
Yeah. And a lot of teams, though, have been proven to be so inconsistent each year. I mean, we talk about that all the time with all 3 of our teams pretty much. Kind of ad nauseum. That's what's frustrating about everything is you just want to see consistency. And that's why when I talk about Rodgers and when I talk about some of these other players, their teams year in and year out are what? 13-3. 12, like they're getting to 10+ wins.
Yeah.
And the Vikings are, you know, basically one of those EKG machines, your heart monitor is just going all over the place.
You know, the thing you don't understand, you don't know anymore is like all these organizations, you have so many reporters there, you have so many leaks anymore. You don't know who's leaking it. Is it just a reporter making something up and twisting something? Is it someone's family member? Is it a teammate in the locker room that overheard something? Is it an agent? Is it an agent that's dropping hints? I mean, that you hear all this stuff all the time that agents tend to drop stuff to the media. So you don't know what to believe, but
you just saw that
I honestly don't think Russell Wilson is going to be a Seahawk next year.
You just saw that with Baker Mayfield. Actually, I personally believe Russell's agent and camp has personally brought stuff out. When you say these are the teams that my quarterback wants to play for, that's more than rumors. Baker just came out though, and there were reporters talking about Baker might be on a new team, might be playing his last game with the Browns. He's in a terrible relationship with the coach. Baker retweets that tweet from a reporter from the Browns and goes, clickbait. All this is clickbait. These guys are just looking to get pennies in their pockets. Nothing of this is true. Stop listening to this. So, again, like you said, you don't even know what's true anymore.
Yeah, you don't. And that's the thing. There's so many platforms out there for people to drop stuff. I mean, Twitter, Instagram, you know, anywhere people can drop stuff. And the thing is all it takes is one person to see it. And next thing you know, you got 1,000 retweets, 1,000 clicks on it, and it's all over the place.
Yep.
What game did we talked about this earlier because after the dud, remember they beat the Vikings 14-7. The Browns did this was at Minnesota, but the week before he got hurt, I think in that game. And this was I guess my point is, he already had this 5th-year option next year. Why are you even playing? He's got a torn labrum. It came out last week, 2 weeks ago that he had it. He's had that for months, though. That was the problem. He's had that for months.
And that's not an easy recovery. I mean, it is his throwing arm, right?
It's his non-throwing arm.
Okay, then you don't have to raise much.
No, it's his left.
Yeah.
Non-throwing.
I've had both of mine done, and I'm telling you what, it's not an easy recovery to come back from. It's painful, and it's a pain in the ass doing physical therapy on it, because they're gonna stretch him out.
Who gave him the decision? Because like ultimately, don't you think that's where the whole disconnect has been all year? Whether or not he should have kept on playing, in my opinion, or shut him down and gotten surgery 8-10 weeks ago at this point.
And to me that shows
character.
The case for why I would want Baker to be my quarterback. You have a quarterback that had 3 huge injuries, and he was still getting you wins. Heck, he could have gotten you 3 more wins if it would have went a play right or play 2. He almost beat the Packers when they had nobody.
He reminds me of Tony Romo. He used to play through injuries all the time. It comes to the point, though, the coach has to make the decision. Is the injury enough that he can play, or is it going to hamper his ability to win
this week? I mean, they're not even in the playoffs.
Yeah, there's no sense of playing this week.
But they have a quality backup. That's the part that's frustrating as a fan watching them play. It's like Baker. I don't think Baker's good enough to be able to play with an injury at whatever percent healthy he is.
Yeah.
And to me, it kind of showed.
Well, there was rumors out there.
They did him a disservice.
There was people out there saying Baker Mayfield would look good on the Washington Commanders.
Wait, is that official? Is their nickname official?
I don't know, but somebody has been messing around, and if you Google their name, it takes you to the Commanders page, so nobody knows.
So February 2nd, they're dropping the new name. There's a couple names they dropped. They might stick with the Washington team. There was the Commanders. There was a bunch of the Raiders. No, not the Raiders. That was stupid. But they also dropped the video of them showing the new uniforms to the coaches and players, and they blur out the uniform and the helmet so you can't see what it looks like.
He would be a good fit in Washington because they have great weapons there. He would be a good fit in Denver.
Pittsburgh too.
I honestly don't think everyone's so high on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is happy where he's at. He's good friends with the GM. Now they're getting along. I think he's honestly staying there. I think it's going to be a short-term deal. I think it's going to be a 2 or 3 year deal. I think he's going to stay in Green Bay. Why would you leave Green Bay? You're on the verge of number 1 seed again. Possibly the NFC Championship, which I don't believe, but possibly the 3rd straight NFC Championship team. So where would you go that's going to make you happier than that?
I think he seriously is okay with retiring. Like, I think Aaron's that type of guy.
He's competitive.
Where I think he could be like, I'll sign a 2-year deal and just retire.
And Jeopardy already filled their spot, so that's taken care of. So you won't be going to Jeopardy.
Which is so. But the Browns are out, right? Like they can't. Yeah, after this loss, there's no way they can.
Browns are out.
I just think there's a lot of things dysfunctional with that organization to allow a guy that seems like he's not 100% out there to play.
Yeah.
That's the thing that frustrates me. And whether the rumors are crap or not going around the locker room and he said, she said, he doesn't get along with the coach, who knows? But ultimately the dude, in my opinion, should not have been playing the rest of the season after this injury.
Well, since we're talking about quarterbacks real quick, Dak Prescott was getting ripped all week about not being able to beat teams that have a 500 or better record. This is a list of some of the players, some of the quarterbacks in the NFL that have records against winning teams. Dak Prescott right now is 8-18 versus winning teams. Aaron Rodgers is 36-43. Baker Mayfield is 6-14. Jimmy G is 9-6, surprisingly. Kirk Cousins, your guy, 7-35 against winning teams. Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes both have great records against winning teams. They're both 10-6, but Lamar Jackson can't win the playoff games. Josh Allen is 7-10. Justin Herbert is 1-5 against teams with a winning record.
He's only second year.
Kyler Murray, 3-11. Daniel Jones, this is why this is going to be Russell Wilson's team in New York, is 0-9 against winning teams.
Russell Wilson's not going there.
Sam Darnold, 4-13. Deshaun Watson, 7-19. Tom Brady has an amazing record against teams with winning records. He's 74-47. Marcus Mariota.
He's the outlier.
Marcus Mariota, 12-13. Russell Wilson is 32-27 against teams with winning records. Matt Ryan, 31-55. Drew Lock, 2-6. I already told you about Dak Prescott. Matthew Stafford is 8-67 against teams with a winning record. And Jared Goff, 14-17. And by the way, Drew Brees is on this on this list. And he does have a subpar record, but I just don't have it with me.
Got him a Super Bowl window, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Super Bowls are rare.
everyone but two of those players you read off have winning records, right? Wilson and Tom Brady.
And Jimmy G.
And Jimmy. Wow. What does that say? Maybe the Vikes got to move to make in the offseason. Hey, no, I don't even want to go down
Let's
this
be
road
real,
of
though. I
getting
think
dropped.
Cousins 7-35 against teams with winning records.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Some of those records that
That's-
Blame it
you-
on the offensive line.
Some of those records that you said, like, it's the NFL though. Like, I don't think you're gonna have a perfect record.
No,
against
you
these
never
teams.
are.
Like when you said Jared Goff 13-17, I would expect a record from that for most quarterbacks. I think you could judge the quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins. You said what 7-36? That's bad.
Yeah.
But the
To
problem
me,
is
that's bad.
Dak Prescott. You know, the NFC East only has one team that's ever over 500. So,
Correct. And like Stafford, for instance, you got to weigh it with the team around him
Yeah.
too. Stafford,
Yeah.
like Stafford's losses compared to Cousins, I'd rather have Stafford's production than Cousins. If we're looking at that, it's interesting to note though that literally there's only three that have winning records, even against a winning team, a good team.
Yeah.
I thought like the better quarterbacks, it would be a little more even if not favored in them, but to know that there's only three, that's insane.
What do you think about Cousins? Cousins was in Washington for a while, and they weren't that good for a while. I mean, they had some good seasons. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, but there were a lot of no-namers. I mean, who the heck was that? Terrell
That's
Pryor was
true.
one of their best receivers for a little bit. He was a former quarterback. Like, what does that say?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And then the Vikings now are going to they're going all for it this game, which I don't know if this gets us into that whole talk on draft position or anything like what the teams
Yeah.
that really have nothing to play for
and-
except a draft position.
Like you just said, Baker. I wouldn't even play Baker.
Yo, and by the way, Baker Mayfield, like you just said the right, you shouldn't play him because last week Baker Mayfield was the first quarterback in NFL history to throw 10 straight incompletions in a game.
Wow. 10 straight incompletions.
In a game. Yeah.
By the way, when we were talking about last week, T.J. Watt having Defensive Player of the Year, they showed a stat that since, like, I want to say it was 2019, he has, like, I'm going to botch this. He has, like, I think 80 sacks or something like that, and the next person below him was, like, 40 sacks.
You know what pisses me
Or
off is
30 sacks?
he should have been a Dallas Cowboy. We drafted Taco Charlton ahead of T.J. Watt.
I mean, he was good at Michigan, though, so. But
Because
he was
they-
terrible in the NFL.
But he's going to break the NFL record. He's going to tie the NFL record
He's
for
so
what,
good.
24 sacks in a season? He's only one behind or a half behind or something. He's got 23 or 23 and a half.
Can you
So
imagine-
he's going to break that this
Yeah.
week.
I wish JJ would have went and played with him. Imagine the Watt brothers playing together.
And they're
That
playing
would've
Baltimore this week.
been- Gosh, that would have been sick, man.
he wanted to be in the warm weather, I think.
I liked
They have a dome
JJ
in
though
Arizona.
on Arizona.
JJ never finishes a season. So
Yeah, fair.
if he wanted to go somewhere for vacation basically, so he went to Arizona.
Hey, we pulled up those stats though one podcast with how many games that he actually missed out of all of the years he's played. It was only like 32 games he's actually missed out of all the seasons he's ever played. And the guy's a tough guy.
Yeah.
Well, he is, and that's a tough position to play. I mean, you're like we said before, you're in a car wreck every freaking down. I mean, basically.
But like you said, Ace, there's a lot of teams that you get into that very interesting situation is, you know, we're right there with the playoffs. We're right there with a good draft pick. I know me and my dad talk about that all the time.
Yep.
Like at halfway through the season, you know, right now we can get like a top 10 pick. And that's a very interesting question because do you think teams still kind of tank? Like, do you think there's still coaches out there that say, let's just tank a couple, get the top 5 draft pick, maybe get a quarterback, which there aren't many this year. But like you said, though, too, on top of that, the Saints, who had a top 10 draft pick in line, you know, they keep fighting, have a chance to make the playoffs where, if we're being realistic, shouldn't even get past the first round. You know, so it's like, is it worth it?
Well, if you want, I can
Well,
give you the
correct.
I can give you the draft
It
order right
hurts.
now.
Yeah, go
It
give
would
us.
hurt their position
Yeah.
anyways by making it into the playoffs. Yeah.
I mean, it feels good to go to the playoffs as a fan. Like, you feel like that was a successful season to at least get to the playoffs. You know, not many teams do that. But
Yep.
Right now, as we
I'm looking-
stand, Jacksonville's the number 1 pick, Detroit's number 2, Houston's number 3, the Jets are number 4, Giants number 5, Panthers number 6, Jets number 7, Giants number 8, Washington
This is
Commanders
where
will
it
be
gets
number
cloudy.
9, Atlanta number 10, Denver
Where are
11,
the Bears?
Cleveland is 12. The
Bears-
Bears gave away their pick to Philadelphia. Minnesota is 13th right now. The Eagles are 14th. The Saints are 15th. Baltimore is 16th. Pittsburgh is 17th.
So
Vegas 18th. The Eagles are actually 18th, I believe.
See, that's where like I'm okay
Vegas
with
is
it.
going to hurt themselves.
Why?
The Bears are going to lose this week. By the way, did you guys know the Bears don't have a quarterback? Like Fields has COVID, Nagy has COVID. I thought Nagy had the head coach.
Nagy don't have COVID. He's
they're not
packing for
trying
the
this
move.
week. Well, whatever. They're not trying this week against the Vikings. So they're trying to help their position, whereas the Vikings, complete opposite, are actually hurting their position by trying to win.
Yeah, my thing is, how could you fire Nagy? Nagy took the team to the playoffs 2 or 3 years. They had a whole quarterback change.
2 out of the past 4 years.
They have a quarterback change. I mean, it's not his fault the team sucks. They only have one good receiver. They have no tight end. The running game is abysmal. It's fucking the team's trash. It ain't his fault. He coaches what's there.
I think that was 3.
Fire the GM.
I think that was 3 years ago too. They would have went further if their kicker would have made that field goal.
Yeah, the dink and doink.
Yep. It's crazy. I think, like for instance, like the Saints, like they're in that weird predicament, like you just said. I think you said that they have like the 15th or 16th pick.
15th.
I'm okay with that, right?
It's a defensive draft anyway.
Because we don't need.
Yeah.
So I saw some crazy stat where the Saints' best quarterback option right now is Jameis Winston. And I thought that was a questionable move because you can go get Russell Wilson. But they said if you go for Jameis, he knows the offense already. He was 5-2 with no receivers. Then you can continue with your draft picks and stack wide receivers up. I love that actually. So you have a team that's 8-8. They're still in a decent spot for the draft, and they could go deep in the playoffs if they have the good enough team. So I get that, but that's tricky because if you're a franchise owner, you want a good draft pick, but also if you have the hopes of the playoffs are right there, anything can happen.
To me, the Bears and the Giants just seem to be the most dysfunctional. Like nobody knew Davis Mills as the Houston Texans quarterback going into the year, right?
Yeah.
They actually have 4 wins. They're better than both those teams, I think. Or they're not better record-wise
Mills
than
and
I think
Tyrod
either
Taylor
of the teams,
helped
but nobody expected anything out of them. The Giants have been an absolute disaster. I don't know how many years straight. The Bears have kind of been floating around, but I think it's more their GM, like you said, Chris, than anything else. And the Giants just have absolutely.
I got to tell you,
if I was a Giant, I'd be so frustrated if I was.
That's
a
crazy
Giants fan.
organization.
They're in the biggest
right
market, and they have no talent.
And if I'm Pittsburgh and I'm the Giants this week, I'm playing the kid from Georgia, Ty. Who's the kid that
Jake Fromm?
I'm playing from.
Yeah.
And I'm not playing Ben this week. I want to see if Rudolph can carry the team because if he can't, you're gonna have to draft the quarterback. And Kenny Pickett is probably the best quarterback in the draft that'll probably be available at the time of their pick.
Do you do that to Ben though?
Why not? You have to. You right now they have no idea what their quarterback situation is. I mean, Ben last week what was a stat? 26 of 42, 123 yards. He averaged 2.7 yards of air per play. He's got to go. You already know you're going in another direction. You have to showcase it, and why not? You're not going to the playoffs. You're basically you're going to be playing Baltimore.
They have an outside shot,
but
sadly,
still,
making the playoffs. That's why it sucks.
So
8%
the
chance,
NFL gives you
8%
one
chance.
extra game. Do you think you're going far with Ben? No, you have no air game, no air attack. So, and the only reason they won that game is because Najee won that game for them, 188 yards rushing. So why not see what the future is if you have it on your team? Try that kid, Haskins, whatever his name is. Have a rotation between him and Rudolph and see what you have. Otherwise, you're drafting a quarterback. Same with the Giants. Daniel Jones is trash, and I don't care what anyone says. He's garbage. He has got to go. So now you have to say, are we playing Glennon? Is that our future quarterback? No. So let's try Fromm. Throw Fromm in for a whole game. Let him play and see what they have. Because right now you have receivers that are basically saying we're showcasing our talent to go somewhere else. You have a running back that basically doesn't want to be there anymore. Inside scoop. But anyway, you have to you got to showcase what you have now.
I agree with you. I think the Steelers gave Big Ben his fair way. We gave you your last home game.
Yep.
We need to go look at our future. The Giants, they started Jake Fromm, I think that was 3 weeks ago, and they pulled him halfway through the game, which is terrible. How are you going to give a guy his first start and pull him halfway through a game?
He drove down the field on the Cowboys.
My hot take, I think Deshaun Watson goes to the Giants.
I don't think so.
They have 2 first-round picks.
Miami said they're all in for Deshaun. And that's horrible. I feel bad for Tua. That is horrible.
7 straight wins.
Tua's going to go to Cleveland. I feel bad.
When I forgot the Steelers, you could put in that position where they're going to hurt their draft position no matter what this week because they're going to try to win. And I agree with you, Chris. I don't think they should either. They would be the one team that if they made the playoffs, I would put my house on it. They would lose first round.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute. They have nothing.
Yeah.
They're great on defense, but you don't know what you're going to get on offense out of the Steelers.
And even if you make the playoffs, now you're going to throw yourself down lower into the draft pick range, which you're not going to get a quarterback then. So,
yep.
If that's the case, then you might as well, as I'm getting phone calls, you might as well throw your hat in the ring and say, you know what? If Miami is seriously interested in getting rid of Tua, that'd be a good fit right there in Pittsburgh.
I think Tua would
be great in Pittsburgh.
Tua is going to be that story that Miami's going to trade him, and you watch him go off. He's going to have such a big chip on his shoulder. You wanted to give up on me that easily after giving you 7 wins in a row? All right, bye. Let's do this.
Yeah, that is the worst. That has to be the worst feeling in the world.
How many times did I tell you on this podcast, Mitchell Trubisky was not a bad quarterback? When you walk into an organization and 1 week into it, the fans hate you because they wanted a different quarterback.
Either was Wentz. Well, I mean, Wentz was not the problem in Philadelphia.
Trubisky took them to 2 out of 4 playoffs. Where are you going now?
Yeah.
Your coach is going to get fired. You have no defense. You got no offense. I'm not saying Mitchell Trubisky was a great quarterback, but you see these guys that I was watching.
And now you have Fultz, Carson Palmer, and you have freaking Fields there all in the roster, and you don't know which way you're going with either one of the quarterbacks.
I was watching the Drew Brees documentary.
Fired a GM.
I was watching the Drew Brees documentary, and it's in an era where he had like maybe 5 wins in 3 seasons with the Chargers. They couldn't give up on him like most teams do nowadays. His next season, they get 11 wins to go to the playoffs. And I said to my buddy next to me, I said, you would never see that in the NFL nowadays. If you went 2 seasons with only like 4 to 5 wins, you're gone.
Yeah.
They don't let quarterbacks develop anymore. You have a guy like Tua, who we just said had 7 wins in a row. They win in 8.
Yeah.
Then they go, obviously get blown out last week. They're out of the playoffs. But good organization where they could set up and grow. But it's sad to say they're probably going to get rid of him.
And this is why I hate long.
Well, it doesn't help.
This is why I hate long. I'm getting sidetracked. I was supposed to go to a viewing tonight, and because of COVID, can't happen. But this is why I hate long quarterback contracts too. Look at Dak. You know, Dak was high on the hog beginning of the season, throwing up great stats, and now he can't freaking throw a touchdown. And now we're stuck with him, paying him $40+ million a year. You have to ask yourself after a few more games, is Dak the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, he is. Settle down there.
No, I mean, Ty, you have a quarterback that can't make proper decisions.
I think he is too.
He checks out of everything.
You know how many guys would take Dak Prescott on your team, though?
Dude,
I know he's struggling.
He can't run.
He's struggling. But
He can't run. He looks like a wounded duck.
I think that's a big difference, too, between this year and last year. Unfortunately, that injury, I don't know if he would tell you he's shy when it comes to trying to get out of the pocket.
Yeah,
but that's a huge
You think, he's still coming off
game.
a big injury. I mean, his whole ankle looked like a flop. It was like an L. You know what I mean? That takes time to get used to before you can kind of feel comfortable to run again.
But if you watch the games, I mean, beginning of the season, he looked solid.
Yeah,
and now he looks like he's afraid to throw the ball.
Maybe he ran and felt something. He got a little scared.
I don't know. But I don't see us going far anyway.
Kind of going in the opposite direction. The best first-round playoff matchups, if things were going to at least end as they were, I think the Eagles would end up playing. So what would it be? Let's say things ended today. You'd have the 49ers, the Eagles, the Cardinals, the Rams.
I think the Eagles would get the Rams, right?
The Cowboys and the Packers, with the Packers getting that first-round bye.
The Eagles would get Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Tampa Bay's a 2 seed.
Yeah, okay.
So Tampa Bay would get the Eagles. I think the Eagles can beat Tampa Bay. In Philly?
With the Cowboys
would get Arizona.
Who gets a bye, though?
Green Bay.
There's only one bye.
One bye. So 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. So Dallas is going to end up getting freaking either Arizona or the Rams, depending on who wins that division. And unless we can find a way to, Dallas really screwed themselves. I'm trying to be polite with my words here tonight. You went from the 2 seed to basically the 4 seed. And your path consists of now the Rams or Arizona, and then going to Lambeau Field week 2.
You know, it would be an amazing matchup if the playoffs ended right now. You said 4 plays 5. The Bills would play the Patriots.
Yeah, in Buffalo.
A divisional game
in
like
Buffalo.
that you've been fighting for first place all year, that'd be a game I'd watch.
And I'll tell you right now,
absolutely.
if it's a snow game where they get that lake effect snow and you have to run the ball, New England's going to win that game.
Because they got to go running back.
Yep.
New England's defense is solid against the run. But if it's a passing game, Josh Allen all day.
So 7. So yeah, the 49ers, would they play the Cowboys?
No.
And the Eagles
no.
play.
49ers would get the Rams.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Wow.
Wow.
I can see the Eagles beating
and
Tampa
then
Bay. With the Eagles defense?
Absolutely.
Oh my
yeah.
God. I mean, you'd have to go down to they have to go play down there in Tampa Bay. But still, the Eagles and Tampa Bay is decimated by injuries. They can't stop the run now.
Mike Evans' back, but he's not fully
geez.
healthy. Fournette's trying to get back.
And Devontae Smith's hitting his stride.
Another one that would be interesting, too, is the Chargers right now would play the Chiefs. And we saw last time they played each other, Justin Herbert, he had that little walk off the field where Patrick Mahomes was calling his name to shake his hand. He kept walking.
But the thing that sucks is Kansas City in the playoffs, it's a loud atmosphere. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if Herbert can handle that. It's just
That's
a
a good
different
point.
Kansas City in January. It's freezing cold where you got a California boy in a dome coming in there.
Well, and that's Tennessee. So Tennessee, if they win out, they get home field advantage
They
too.
get
So
a bye.
playing there or playing,
They get a bye, so they get 2 more weeks of resting Henry.
but playing there, playing in what so it's Titans, Chiefs, Bengals, and Bills, and then Patriots. All 4 of those teams have terrible weather this time of year. So that's, you kind of see the MO for these teams. I don't think the Chargers have a prayer if they can't run the ball, unfortunately. And then the Packers, obviously that seed.
And let's
they're gonna
face
have a
it,
bye.
nobody wants to go to Green Bay. Nobody wants to go to Buffalo. Nobody wants to go play in Kansas City.
It's shocking to me to see Tennessee
The
11-5 right now. I did not
The
expect
Eagles
that.
are going to, I think you're 100% right, though. The Eagles right now, and maybe the Colts, but the Colts are a dome team. The Eagles play outdoors. I don't think they have a problem playing anywhere.
See, I'm telling you right now. Eagles knock off Tampa Bay. Dallas knocks off Green Bay. I fulfill my play. I said those 2 teams won't make it to the NFC Championship game.
No, I don't want to see an AFC or an NFC each matchup in the championship round. That would be incredible, though. I could honestly see the Chiefs playing the Bengals in an AFC championship matchup.
Dallas gets the Eagles in the NFC Championship game in Dallas, and then the Super Bowl gets moved to Dallas. Nah.
2 straight home games.
Look, I would seriously be afraid of the Eagles. I really would. The Eagles are the team that scares me. Tennessee, I don't know. Tennessee, even with Henry, their receiving core is good, but Julio Jones isn't going to play, so you're just going to have to load the box and try to get pressure on Henry and Tannehill, and then just hope you can stop those 2.
They're a physical team, though.
I want to know how healthy Henry is, too. Also, do you think you put Henry on a pitch count?
I wouldn't play him to the playoffs. There's no need to play him this week.
You got to get him some reps.
Practice.
No, I kind of agree. Don't play him until the playoffs either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if you don't play until the playoffs? He's cold. Gets nothing going for him.
All he has to do is hand the ball to him and run.
I would want to know.
That's all you got to do.
If the doctor comes up to me and says, he's 100% healthy, I think I'd give him a quarter, see how he runs.
Maybe like a preseason game.
Get him loose, get that ankle loose so that he's ready for the...
That's an interesting point because there's a lot of teams that could stand to just rest their players, but I think are going to end up playing them, kind of like what you said with Rodgers playing earlier.
What are your views on that for you two? Would you rest your starters?
No, absolutely not.
Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is resting right now. He's not playing next week. That's what it is. He doesn't have COVID. They said they're not playing him.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even John Madden said it. If you have a game scheduled, you play the game. I think it could hurt you either way.
He said.
I think it could hurt you either way. I mean, you could have a freak injury, but at the same token, I mean, especially the Cowboys, your offense isn't clicking. You're playing. You're playing.
Yeah. Like even Joe Burrow's case, like this guy just back-to-back games of 400 passing yards. What if you don't play him this week? First round of the playoffs, ice cold, throws 100 yards.
See,
and I get it. You have practice reps. You go through the motions. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, but
right?
practice isn't like it used to be.
Yeah,
They're hardly in pads anymore. They're in shells every now and then.
That's why I'm like, if I'm the Bengals, I'm at least throwing Burrow out there for the first half.
I think
they're also playing matchups too, though. Well, they are playing a tough defense, but they're playing a team that actually cares at this point.
Here's another interesting view,
I think there's only a certain amount of teams that can actually change their playoff movement. I think the Eagles might be able to possibly move up. The Dallas Cowboys might be able to move up depending on what happens ahead of them.
Yeah.
But I think in the Eagles and in the Cowboys game, I think you're going to see them play a half if they even play their starters. I think if you think about it, these teams, with the way the new COVID rules are, the teams like the Eagles, I mean, and the Cowboys, they're set as far as COVID goes.
See, I saw
because these guys will be able to play in the playoffs.
I saw this interesting view too, right? You think about a losing team, right? You got the Packers, you have Devontae Adams, and you have Aaron Rodgers. They want to play. They're not talking about it. They want to play. You have the Lions, though, right? Not going to the playoffs. You have a good head coach that wants to win no matter what. You have players that are fighting to have film on them, fighting to go get money. They're coming out aggressive, and I heard I think it was on the Pat McAfee podcast. They're talking about they might be hitting harder than usual.
This is how injuries happen.
Yeah, this is how injuries happen. You might throw a rookie out there who this might be his only time to shine, right? What are you doing if you have one moment to shine? You're going to put a big hit on. You're going to do whatever you can do to get your highlight. Devontae Adams, gets a big hit out for the season. You know what I mean?
I think you're only going to see Aaron Rodgers in one quarter. I don't think you're going to see them. I mean, they can't fall out of the number one spot. It's basically give them one quarter, maybe even one drive. Give them one drive, give me your best drive, and then that's it. You're sitting.
Listen,
you're
man,
right. I wouldn't risk that.
My hot take, guys, and if this happens, it's going to happen. My hot take is if the Saints sneak into the playoffs, all you're going to hear from me on every single podcast, the Saints going to the Super Bowl. No. It's going to be a historic documentary to talk about the hurricane, the injuries, the Coach of the Year candidate Sean Payton coming back and making playoffs, going to a Super Bowl with a quarterback with a broken middle finger. Guys.
Oh, God.
That'd be an incredible story.
If the Saints have Michael Thomas, I'd say hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'd fear the Saints.
But
you don't. I mean,
I saw a really good article say that the Saints are an NFC team that if they make the playoffs, you have to fear them with that defense. With who they've beaten so far, they've swept the Buccaneers this season. They destroyed the Packers. Everybody in the NFC, even the Cowboys. That game was close to the wire until the end when Taysom Hill threw those 2 picks with a broken finger. First time he was dealing with that broken finger. Dallas was 3 for 14 on first downs that game.
Yeah,
defense is fear. If that defense can shut you out and we can score 1 or 2 touchdowns, that's a team you have to fear.
I mean, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. It's any given Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Baltimore. Baltimore, they're always good, and they get to the playoffs and they lose, and I can't stress that enough. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has only been to 1 Super Bowl. Why? Because it's tough to get there. Tom Brady is a fluke. He's been there, 9, 10 times.
It's not a fluke.
No, I'm just
I know what you mean.
No, I'm just saying. It's not like it's easy. It's not like you just what he's doing. It's not
once
easy.
In a lifetime. We're watching. This is what I tell people. I think I'm watching your Michael Jordan. You know how watching Michael Jordan? That's what Tom Brady is to me. I will never see somebody like that again. You thought Steve Young was good. How many did Steve Young get?
Yeah.
No, how many did he get?
4, no, 3 maybe.
Tom Brady had
3.
Tom Brady has 6
Montana,
now?
Montana won 2 or 3. I don't even know. I just know they've been to several of them.
And Tom Brady has
They dominated the 90s.
Tom Brady's won 6 now, I think.
Yeah.
Or 7. I don't know how many.
Look at Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Brett Favre's he was only to 1. Dan Marino never won 1.
Tom Brady.
John Elway, what does he have? 2. I mean, it's a fluke
1, 2,
thing.
and then retired.
I mean, Mahomes, he's been to 2? He only has 1. Russell Wilson had a chance to get to several of them. Look at the Eagles. Donovan McNabb. Would they go to 4 straight NFC Championship games? Only got the 1 Super Bowl and they lost because he threw up in the huddle.
Hot question. Do you think Tom Brady will go down as not just the best quarterback, but the best football player in history?
Tom Brady's going to break every record in football, but I think he's the greatest quarterback of our era. I mean, the rules changed.
Not of all time? Not of all time?
No, because, even Michael Jordan, you can't say he's the best of all time because the rules changed. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, he was one of the best ever, and then Michael Jordan came around. Now you have LeBron. It's just the rules change, the game changes, so I think of this era, I think he's the best ever you'll ever see.
You don't think those 6 or 7 Super Bowl rings on his fingers say that he's not the best quarterback ever?
No, because you look at it. I mean, back when Joe Montana and them played, you could hit the quarterback.
Yeah.
Now you can't hit the quarterback. Who says if Tom Brady played back then, he's injured and never got to another one?
That's very true.
So I think of this era, this generation, I think he's the best quarterback ever.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's hard to say best ever, but certainly within this generation, for sure, what he's been able to do is unbelievable. How many, just the number of Super Bowls to go to year in and year out, regardless of trying to win them, is just incredible.
And he's never really had a good...
To your point, it's not going to be matched.
Yeah, and he's never had a good team that, stood out, like the Three Amigos, the teams that had a good running back, good tight... I mean, he had Gronkowski, but he always had hand-me-down receivers,
Quick little headline here, by the way. This is very interesting.
The Sixers are winning?
Steelers wide receiver Johnson, he got off the COVID list after just 1 day. That's very interesting.
Well, the thing is they're testing only beginning of the week now. So as long as you don't have symptoms, you can play. So the rules change.
Now, what happens if you test positive but you don't have symptoms?
If you test positive but you don't have symptoms, you're allowed to play now. They changed the rules. That's why I said about the Eagles. They're all positive, but they could be ready to play by Saturday. It's not like it was where you had to sit out 10 days.
Yeah, here it is. Under the new return-to-play protocols adapted to players who are vaccinated and asymptomatic can return to practice and games based on a measure of their viral load known as the cycle threshold, or CT. That testing can begin as soon as 1 day after the initial positive.
And this is what sucks, because if they are positive, they come out and they play. I mean, I don't know what the chances are of spreading it on a football field, but, I mean, you're all tackling each other. You're laying on top of each other. You know,
Yeah.
what if you go to the following week and you go into a playoff game? Now you have freaking 10 players on a playoff team that have COVID now. This is crazy.
Hey, but as long as it's not the superstar, they're just going to keep churning out games.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. We've already talked enough about the soap opera with COVID, of course. Do you guys want to, what are your views on AB? Should we dive into that?
So this AB thing is very interesting, right? I've been reading so much on AB's part. I listened to the interview with Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians' interview was very quick, and he says, I don't want to talk about it ever again. He said he walked over to AB. AB said he didn't want to play. I'm not getting enough touches. Coach said, all right, you're done. Get that out of here. Boom, done. That's all he said, right? AB, on the other hand, he releases all the images of the text messages that he had with Bruce Arians, where he said, took a picture of his foot. Ugly,
that was
ugly
before
foot.
the game.
Ugly foot, man. I got to tell you, that foot is ugly.
You want to see ugly? Look at Deion Sanders. Sanders
So
has some
he
ugly
sends
feet.
him a foot, says, Coach, I'm a little in pain, but, I'm ready to go. Coach says, all right, we'll talk about it before the game. AB, I've read this huge thing that AB posted about what really happened on the sideline. I don't know who I believe. I really want to say I believe AB, but I still think the way he handled it was unprofessional. AB, in this huge thing, AB said he was in extreme pain, that he took a seat on the bench, and that's when Bruce Arians came up to him and said, what are you doing? AB said, it's my ankle, Coach. I can't go out. Bruce then yelled at him, if you don't go out, you're done. He said, I'm not going out. He said, you're done. Pointed at him with the whole neck thing where he said, you're done. Get off the field. That's when AB went and did his whole thing where took his jersey off, took his helmet off, ran off in the field, blah, 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 blah. I don't think the way AB handled it was professional. I don't think the way Bruce... I mean, I could see Bruce Arians do that, right? It's NFL. It's coaches. They're fired up. They're losing to the Jets. You're an NFC team, winning that division. It's a very interesting thing. AB thinks it's his business is going to be booming when he comes back after his surgery. I think some team will probably sign him after everything he's released. I don't know who to believe at the end of the day.
I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, this just proves that superstars still get treatment because he's sort of been a cancer on how many different teams now after the Steelers?
So that's what I asked too.
So-
I said, no matter what, at the end of the day, right? After the end of the day, if you agree with AB, if you agree with Bruce Arians, maybe he was injured, right? At the end of the day, you look at the coaches that he's played for, right? Mike Tomlin, he played a little bit with the Patriots coach, what's his name? I can't think of his name.
Belichick.
Bill Belichick, yep. He played with John Gruden, and now he played with Bruce Arians. 3 of those coaches are probably going to be Hall of Fame coaches. And you didn't get along with any of those coaches. Any of those coaches. Like, what does that show
And
you?
the team.
What does that tell you about the player? You know what's sad, too, is I personally believe AB didn't have any of this drama, especially with the Raiders. I think he'd be a Hall of Fame receiver with the stats that he's been able to put up.
But
That's a great point.
my thing is why is it always the receiver that's the drama queen on a team?
It's always.
T.O., you had problems with T.O., Randy Moss was another one.
A little bit with Michael Thomas. Julio Jones with
God
the
knows
Jones.
Michael Irvin.
Calvin Ridley now. They're Atlanta's talking about getting rid of Calvin Ridley, and now AB. It's just what's the other one that was with
Juju Smith.
Juju? Yeah. It's just why is it always the receiver? I can envision quarterbacks being the drama queens on the team.
Yeah.
But
I just wish, don't you wish they were all like Barry Sanders or Larry Fitz, where they caught it and just like flipped it back to the.
But I tell you right now, if Bruce Arians is in the wrong here and he tried to make an injured player go out and play, and he did say you're done and did the whole thing across the throat symbol to him, and NFL films, I mean, if you have it, please show it. That'd be great.
Because there's probably players that
but
saw, but they won't
the
talk
Players
about
Association is going to jump all over this, and He's going to have one hell of a lawsuit.
Well, let's be real. If I'm being real, I could see it, right? Bruce Arians, he didn't
He doesn't
like
like him.
AB before AB even came on the team. When Tom Brady approached him about that, he's like, I'm not having that type of player on my team.
Yeah, and then the whole fake COVID card that pushed Arians over to, because Arians was a cancer survivor and he just wasn't a big fan, and then he ended up getting COVID anyway. There was bad blood there from the start. But other than this, I mean, AB has been pretty quiet. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he had 10 receptions for over 100 yards.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he was having a good year. I'm going to look up his stats, but I'm almost positive he had almost like 700 receiving yards. He was having a good year, good bounce-back year.
He was on the verge of making $1 million extra in bonus money. He needed like 12 more yards or something like that and another touchdown or whatever this thing was. But he was going to get $333,000 for each one of those bonuses that were coming up, and he was close to getting them.
Here it is, receiving yards.
He has one more game.
Yeah.
He still has one more game to do that. That's why this is all selfish, in my opinion.
So he only played in 17 games compared to the 14 that Chris Godwin and Mike Evans has played, and he has 545 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. Having a pretty good year for only 7 games, right? That's almost more than 90% of the Saints receivers who've been playing all year.
But it would have been more games. He basically was being punished by Bruce Arians because of that whole COVID thing.
I actually looked up the other day. I wanted to remember the whole Oakland Raiders situation. I forgot about that whole situation. He didn't play one game with them. You know that?
It was the foot, right? Didn't he sit out?
He had frostbite on his foot, and then remember he got mad because they wouldn't let him use the helmet that he wanted to use because you couldn't use it anymore because of the concussion protocol. And so they traded
from cryotherapy.
I think they released him, and then the Patriots signed him to a 1-year deal, and I think that's when he went to Tampa Bay after that.
Yep.
Crazy, man. So much, because that was on Hard Knocks. That's why that was so big.
Well, if AB is losing his mind, and I know he's doing Cameo now, and he's doing these talk shows now, and probably the next thing he's going to do is fight Jake Paul. I mean, that'll probably be the next thing. But I just think if there is something that's stirring the Kool-Aid up there and his brain is messed up, that the NFL should really get him help and have someone look into it.
On those cameos, he was talking about New York. He goes, New York, yeah. That'd be nice, right? Saquon Barkley, we would go going. What?
No. He cannot work with Daniel Jones. We've already.
If he wasn't having the foot surgery, he was just released. I'd be like, Dallas Cowboys, you could sign him for 2 games. That'd be nice to fill in for Michael Gallup.
I said the same thing. I said, as much as I don't like everything he's doing, if he was.
Yeah.
New Orleans possibly going to the playoffs, had a receiver. It just, can he be coached? Like we just talked about the coaches that we named off. Some of the best coaches in the leagues, they couldn't handle him. They did post a picture though, Michael Thomas and Antonio Brown side by side in Saints uniforms. It looked amazing, but I don't want him.
Whatever.
Not going to happen.
So if you guys had to guess right now, do you think the playoffs are set, or do you see any sleepers getting in?
I think the wild card is definitely still up for grabs for some of these teams.
I think the only one that really has a shot to get in is the Saints.
The AFC,
there's 3. The Chargers, the Raiders, and the Steelers.
The Raiders, Steelers, and Chargers. That's still close.
Steelers are going to Baltimore. They're gonna choke.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I don't think they have a chance. Their Super Bowl was last week when they did the whole Ben going out kind of deal. I don't know how they get up for this game.
Yeah, my buddy was there. It was pretty cool.
That's what I like. Out of those teams, the only thing I can think of is maybe like the Chargers or the Saints, but they're playing like the Chargers are going to have to go on the road in a crappy weather game, and I just can't see them really doing much at all. Whereas the Saints could win an ugly game no matter who they play.
Saints have a good away record this year.
Who are the Saints playing this week?
We're playing Atlanta. This is the thing, though.
That's a win.
No, you can't. I've been telling
Atlanta's
everybody this.
Atlanta's
all
coming.
week.
It's a win.
No matter if the Saints suck, no matter if Atlanta sucks, when they play each other, records are out the window. Like 2 years ago with Drew Brees, we had 13 wins. Atlanta beat us. Like, it is such a divisional rival game. It doesn't matter what your record is. I do think on paper we should beat them.
I'd be shocked if you guys don't win that game.
Let me ask you guys something. Real quick question before we get into college football, because I know you guys want to talk about. I don't think Taysom Hill's our starting quarterback, but say Taysom Hill somehow gets you into playoffs and wins you 2 playoff games. Do you consider starting him next year without a broken finger? Like if I wasn't a Saints fan here and we were talking about quarterbacks in that situation, do you give him a chance to start next year?
I think you have to see what your best options are. Is Jameis your best option? Is Taysom your best? Or is there a free agent available out there that was willing to come to New Orleans?
Well, I'm saying if you're a coach and a GM though, and you have Taysom Hill who wins you 2 playoff games and you win the game to go to the Super Bowl,
No.
You don't give him a chance.
No.
After having no receivers and no tight
I blame
end.
it on the competition. Say the competition was just weak.
Even in the playoffs,
No,
he
I mean,
says
if
that.
Go ahead, Ace.
What do they see? That the problem is, what do they see Hill as? Like, I don't even know if the Saints know that they want him to
That's
be the
Sean
starter.
Payton's boy. Sean Payton loves him.
Yeah.
And that's Sean
Yeah.
Payton's boy.
It's
his
weird.
stepson.
It's weird because like there's times where he shows potential, but I think Taysom Hill's true identity is when we have a good, solid quarterback in there. He's a great weapon to throw out there. Put him out as wide receiver. Put him out the block. Put him out the run. He ran a 40 faster than 90% of the NFL athletes. Like the guy is fast.
Yep.
He's a machine. I think he's a good offensive
Yeah,
weapon, but I really don't think he's gonna ever be the quarterback to take us to a Super Bowl.
You know what I forgot to? There was a hilarious quote from Zimmer Mike Zimmer, the coach of the Vikings, after this disaster against the Packers, of course the fans were upset that leading up to the game they started Mannion instead of our rookie Kellen Mond. And after the game, there's a hilarious clip of Zimmer basically. The reporter had asked him a question. How come he didn't start the whole game? Didn't want him to. I've seen him every day at practice, and that
Wow.
was like it. Just cold. I've seen him every day at like just clearly stating the dude isn't ready. So like,
Your
it was just
quarterback
funny.
didn't put up bad stats either.
The COVID
No,
killed that team. I mean, he had no one to throw to, no time to throw. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I maybe the team just tanked that game and said, "Screw it, we want Zimmer gone."
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a
I
good
don't-
point, though. If Zimmer is
Before we-
gone, what coach would you like to see coach that team? That's a good question for you and Rudy.
Oh, Kellen Moore was, by the way, getting interviewed
By
for Jacksonville.
Yeah, so what? They still have 3 other interviews. That's just protocol.
Next
Kellen
week
Moore to
we'll ask
Minnesota.
that question.
Kellen
No,
Moore to
next
Minnesota.
week we'll ask that question because it's Black Monday. Next week we'll ask that question. There could be 8 coaches done by the time we do this next
That's
week.
very true. That's very true, man. All right, you guys want to talk about the college games?
Well, first of all, let's talk about
Yeah.
NBA. NBA real quick. Lakers, I have
Okay.
to talk about the Lakers. Lakers are the 6th seed right now. You know, the senior citizen team has won 3 in a row. They're still 4-6 in their last 10. Anthony Davis, street clothes, doesn't play much anymore. And Westbrook is just, he's a banker. The only one that's been really carrying the team is LeBron lately. LeBron is like, this should be his farewell tour because he's averaging like 30 points a game. The Suns and the Warriors basically are the 2 teams that just are really a step ahead of everybody. The Suns are just amazing. They're 30-8. The Warriors are 29-9. Although they lost 2 in a row, their 3-point shooting has been absolutely trash lately. I think Steph is 5 of 28 his last 2 games. They did play Dallas the other night, and Dallas, after the game, retired Dirk Nowitzki's number and put a statue out in front of the...
That statue's cool. Where they're gonna put a statue out there.
The
Looks
statue's
cool.
kind of weird though with the 3 balls. I mean, the fade, his flamingo shot is
But they put-
amazing, but they stack 3 basketballs like it's leaving his hand. It just looks weird. I don't want to say what it looks like, but it just looks bad. But
I'm curious to know what you're
no.
thinking it looks
But in the
like.
East, the Chicago Bulls are leading the East. They're 25-10. They won 8
That's
in a
crazy
row.
how that turned around so quick for them.
The Nets had Kyrie come back. Kyrie is their road warrior now. He plays only road games. They won 1 game. I think he had 25 points his first game back. The Sixers, which I can admit I haven't been watching much of because I'm just sick of it. I don't know what's going on with Ben Simmons. I don't even want to know anymore. But they have won 5 in a row, and I keep looking up at the screen. They're up by 18 right now over San Antonio.
That was some quick math.
Nice.
So Sixers are going in the right direction. But it's still wide open. I think the East is weak compared. I think it's going to come down to those 2 teams over in the West. The West is solid.
Saw some crazy. Someone posted today that Kyrie Irving is the top 3-point guard of all time. I was like, oh, what are you smoking?
Yeah. And hockey. I mean, the Flyers are trash. And as far as keeping track of them, I just really don't pay attention to them right now because with COVID and everything that's going on, that the Flyers have so many injuries and they're just playing through it. They're just horrible.
They had the Winter Classic for hockey.
That was in
at
Minnesota,
Target Field
right?
in Minneapolis. Yeah, it was like the coldest weather, -10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
coldest
it
it's been all week. But it was,
crazy.
dude. I watched a drone video. I should send this. One of the NHL must have contracted with somebody, but they had an amazing drone video flying through kind of in between players, just incredible views around the stadium.
You people in Minnesota, you just don't bleed. It's like you have leather for skin. You can just like slice off several layers, and it won't even hurt you, like Inuit people or something like that.
Some of those guys,
our skin just chips.
I walk outside to take the dog out, and I'm freaking freezing my ass off, and you guys just have like leather.
Some of those guys' beards were frozen.
It's crazy. I mean, you probably have like ice inside your eyeball, and you blink, and you're freaking cutting yourself with icicles hanging off your eyelashes. I would not want to be playing in that. Give me a heated seat, and I'll be the backup goalie. Nah, not today. Not today.
I wouldn't even want to sit out there.
Heated seat with some hot chocolate.
National championship is coming up this next weekend.
Oh, yeah.
No, is it this weekend?
Yeah,
this weekend. Sorry, I think it's Monday.
Big round of applause for the pollsters. A big FU to the Alabama pollsters. Yep, you got it what you wanted.
SEC.
You got what you wanted. You got Alabama, and that's what they wanted. And
I'll tell you what, Ace. I turned on that Michigan game.
Trash.
My girlfriend doesn't watch football, and she walked away from the room, came back in. It was about 21-0 in a matter of minutes. She goes. Was it that fast already? I said, yeah. Just walk back out because it's.
The thing that is I mean, you look at Georgia compared to Michigan, and those
are some big
kids, man. It's not fair. It really isn't.
That's a terrible excuse though. 34-11, like that's embarrassing.
No, man. The SEC is just it. The SEC is just a league of their own. It really is. Alabama's their players. I mean, look how big they were compared to Cincinnati. Those kids from the South don't want to go and play Michigan. They don't want to go up and play in those cold states. They want to be down there where it's warm. And that's the recruiting advantage. I think they should give domes to everybody, and then it'll be wide open then. But they got what they wanted. They wanted Alabama there. They got it. This is what you're going to get now. You're going to get Alabama against Georgia.
I hope Georgia wins.
And so do I. I'm rooting for Georgia to blow them out.
And to be honest, I think it's only going to – they talk about NIL helping. I think it's only going to get more lopsided with the teams that can pay off.
Absolutely.
You'll get to this, I think, Chris, but the teams that have the boosters, these top conferences, top programs are going to be able to pay off players to come to their programs.
Yep.
Like Oklahoma, for instance. Oklahoma had two of the best quarterbacks this year, arguably. Something Rattler and Williams, I think. Both are now in the transfer portal, gone. Yeah, they're both gone from the program. Now they have to start over.
College football has free agency. They got free agency now. These kids can go year to year wherever they want to go.
Yep.
But now there is rumors saying that Caleb Williams could be headed to Michigan, that Michigan is offering him an NIL deal that's going to blow him out of the water. So
I think Michigan should hold on to McCarthy, though. That guy, that's a freshman, he looks good, got a heck of an arm, put up a touchdown late in the game against Georgia. That quarterback for Georgia, though, Bennett played well. He had 313 pass yards and 3 touchdowns against a good Michigan defense. Not having that cornerback, though, killed us that you were talking about.
Well, this is how the NIL works. This is how it, and this is completely how it used to be back in the 80s and 90s, but now it's legal. A recruit is targeted for a specific recruiting class. A point donor then heads the recruiting effort. The point donor gathers other donors around him. Those donors create a LLC. The LLC sponsors the target recruit and pays the deal and pays the deals for the NIL. The recruit, upon arrival on campus, receives money from the LLC. The intern recruit promotes the LLC and its cause, whether that be a charity or a business. Texas A&M is the number 1 class right now for 2022 and is going to be the number 2 class, I think, for 2023 already. They have 6 5-star recruits. They spent over $30 million this year on college football players. They supposedly have paid every offensive lineman over $50,000 through the NIL.
I'd pay my student debt off.
It's crazy.
So, Ty, to break that down, like he was saying, this is literally the wild, wild west. And now that these donors can actually operate somewhat legally by creating an LLC and playing the players instead of doing it all under the table, that $30 million was paid out years ago by the same departments. However, it was under the table. Now that you're being able to see full disclosure, they spent this amount of money. That's insane.
Reggie Bush had his Heisman Trophy taken away because of him getting money. This has been around. This is
no
nothing
kidding.
new.
He
It's
should
just,
get,
it's
he
just
should,
legal
he should
now.
get that back.
Yeah.
Like, how can you make that a thing now, but still punish someone from that?
I mean, you have car dealerships giving kids brand new freaking cars to come play college football. Texas is loaded with money. Oil states loaded with money. There's plenty of donors down there. And for Texas A&M, when was the last time Texas A&M was really, really good? Maybe last year, the year before. I mean, they've been solid the last 2 years. 6 5-star recruits. Wow. That's gonna ruin football. That's gonna ruin college football.
Well, did you see the number 1, number 2? They are going to Dion school.
Yeah, because of donors.
Is that Jackson State? I think
Jackson State University. And by the way, Hugh Jackson hasn't been answering my call because he is coaching. He's the head coach now of Grambling University.
Where's that?
It's down in South, down in Louisiana, or down there in Mississippi or somewhere. I've been to the Bayou.
I think you're right.
I've been to the Bayou Classic. The Bayou Classic is
Big school?
Grambling versus Southern. Yeah, it's a big school. So he's a head coach now. So congratulations, Hugh Jackson. On
the HBCUs are really going to be coming on too, especially if they can keep some. I don't know if I don't know if that's HBCU, but it's a smaller school. Hugh Jackson's got reputation. Same with Deion Sanders. Like, that's only going to help those brands. But then you look at like a Minnesota or a Wisconsin or even a Michigan, where like they're a great program, but they're kind of teeter-tottering, where you'll get some of the top recruits, but it's also not the SEC where you play in better weather. The competition's better. Things are going to be so lopsided in 5 to 10 years. It's just going to be crazy.
Well, the SEC is going to be loaded in another 2 years when they get Texas going there, Oklahoma's going there. It's going to be loaded with all these teams that are going to have the most money to spend. And one of my wife's friends up here, her son was just recruited by 5 of the top schools in college. He went to Alabama. Nick Saban called his family and said, "We'll take care of your son." He's going to Alabama. Football. He plays for one of the local schools up here, so we would love to have him on the podcast. So he's going to Alabama.
Absolutely.
But the NIL, I think, absolutely is going to ruin college football. It's no longer going to be about education. It's going to be about money, and you're going to have.
Let's be real. Those kids that go to those big schools, it's never about schooling for them.
No, it's
about
not.
The chance
I
to
mean,
go
but
to
you're
the
getting a
NFL.
free education. I mean, what more money do you need, honestly? I mean, you're getting, $100,000 education for nothing? I mean, come on. Now,
I don't mind them getting their money. I don't mind the athletes getting the money because they're the ones that are on the field. But you're right, it is.
But it's going to be a problem, Ace. You're going to have an offensive lineman who's blocking for a guy who's getting $2 million and he's getting $25,000. I mean, I'll be like, Olay, let him go and sack the crap out of him. Or you're going to have girls softball coming out and saying, why aren't we getting money? Why aren't we getting paid like that?
Well,
or basketball team. But it doesn't
crowds.
matter. This is going to open Pandora's box. You're going to have, this is the world of the lawsuits that we live in, lawsuits over everything. And now it's even affecting high school football. I mean, you got high school players getting thousands of dollars as sophomores. So it's
this is ultimately going to close some of the non-revenue generating sports too. Because think about it, if now they have to disclose, like Texas A&M now legally has to disclose, hey, 30 million of our funds went toward this football program, right? Now that's 30 million that they probably could have used amongst the entire athletic department or to fund swimming or all the, like, I hate to put these sports down, but they don't make money for these athletic programs.
That's when he said, like, women's softball, like, it's not against gender in that case. It's like, all right, how much money are we bringing in with the football? How much viewings and money are we bringing in with women's softball? Women's softball is big in Alabama, like all those big states. You got the women's World Series, all that. That is big, but it's not bringing as much money as.
But it's already affecting college basketball. I mean, look at college basketball. 4 of the top 5 high school recruits said, screw college. We're not going to college. We're going to the G League or whatever it is, where they're making anywhere from $100,000 to $700,000 a season. These kids, they have so much pressure on them to make money that it's what's going to happen if they don't take that next step and all you get is that $700,000. Now you don't have an education. Now where are you going to end up again?
Yeah.
Back home with mom and dad living off the streets.
It's true.
Unfortunately. That's my rant for that. But Ace, if you have your quick 6.
Take us away.
Well, I was even just going to say the records. Do you
Go
want to
ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
quick?
yes.
The NFL records.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't.
No, he's asking
go ahead.
you if you want
Oh,
to
do I want to do it? No.
Records you had that will never be broken again.
Oh, those.
Yeah, let's do that quick.
I gotta find it. See, I'm not prepared.
Or okay, here I can do the quick six.
No, I
too.
got it.
wasn't-
I got it.
He's just like, well, I don't have those records. That's your idea.
Yeah. I totally forgot. It's COVID. I'm sorry. It's COVID. NFL records that they say might never be broken. Number 5, Derek Thomas recording 7 sacks in a game. Set the record back in 1990 against the Seattle Seahawks. That record stood for over 30 years. He almost tied the record in 1998 when he had 6 sacks in a game. Do you think a record like that will ever be broken?
Yes. The sacks one, I think, will.
7 in a game? That's tough.
It is
Especially in a passing league.
No.
You don't think so? I don't think so.
Hey, what's the current? I don't even. I mean,
I think-
I've seen people get
I've seen
4.
4 in a
Watt
game.
didn't TJ Watt just get 4? I feel like 4 might. Man,
I just think the way the NFL is designed now, how they're passing and how the quarterbacks are, and plus the offensive line, the blocking strategies and stuff, I think it's almost impossible now.
yeah, that's a tough one.
I say no, that record would never be broken. The Tampa Bay
Same.
Buccaneers lose 26 straight games. The added expansion team in 1975. No other team since then has recorded more than 20 losses. Will
20 losses in a row?
any team ever lose 26 losses in a row? I say no.
No,
I think
I say with
not
free
anymore.
agency, the way free agency is
Yeah,
today.
I think Cleveland was probably the closest thing we probably could have seen to that. Or last year, what was it? Jacksonville had 0 wins.
I mean,
they
that-
had 1 win all season.
Even Detroit has 2 wins this year, so
Yeah.
you would have to have 2. Actually, you'd have to have 2 losing seasons plus an extra
Yeah,
couple
I don't
games.
think that will ever happen again.
No, I mean, I don't think the GM or a coach would be around that long anyway. Emmitt Smith carries the ball 4,409 times in his career.
I think that could be broken.
Whoa.
Smith is the NFL record holder with 18,355 rushing yards and 164 rushing TDs. Both will be hard to catch as well. To catch Smith's carries per game, a receiver right now would have to carry the ball 300 times per season in his career. I don't think that'll ever be broken,
Nope.
especially where they're using multiple running backs in a game. You don't ever see
Same
20
with the touchdowns.
Yeah,
I
you
wonder
don't
how
ever see
close-
20 plus carries a game anymore.
I wonder how close Frank Gore was to that.
He's close to the rushing yards for the 3rd overall leading rusher. I think he's at 15,000 yards. But you'll never see
Yeah.
a back get 30-plus carries a game anymore or average 25 carries a game like Emmett did. I think those
No.
days are
Maybe
gone.
Nope.
maybe Derrick Henry, with how long he'll play, maybe he will.
I don't think
Potentially,
so.
but he's he longevity being the factor too for running backs.
That's
it's
true.
so hard.
And plus the game is faster. These guys are built bigger. They hit harder. I just think the game's different. Now, this guy, I might botch his name. The kicker for New England, Steven Gostkowski.
Yep, you said it right.
Successfully converts 523 consecutive extra points over a decade of time. Rules changes, I think, is going to protect this record. Feel extra points now are 13 yards deeper, so I don't think it would. I mean, we see guys now that are missing extra points on a regular, so I don't think that record would ever
No
be.
way.
523 is a lot. You think, Ty? No. The last one, number 1 on the list, the Buffalo Bills lose 4 straight Super Bowls. The Bills were the team of the 90s, the best team ever assembled, only team to ever appear in 4 straight Super Bowls, losing 4 straight. And 4 straight losing is probably harder than winning 4 straight. They could have easily won 1 or 2 of them, although the Dallas Cowboys did beat them back to back. Do you ever see a team losing 4 straight Super Bowls?
I
say no.
don't ever see a team ever again
Nope.
getting to 4 Super Bowls in a row.
No,
How many
that's
does
another
Kansas?
great
How many does
point.
Kansas City have right now? 2.
2 straight.
This could be their 3rd, but they've already won 1 of them.
3.
So
I even think just getting to 4 straight alone, whether you win or lose, is dang near going to be impossible now.
I think if Kansas City gets there this year, I think they could easily do it another
Yeah.
year. I mean, the quarterback's already under contract,
Yeah, that's true.
so I think
All right.
I think they can get there for 4, but they don't got to worry about losing 4. Although if they lose this year, that's 2 in a row. So it could happen.
Little nugget tie.
It could happen. That could be
No,
the
he
one.
could- All right, I'll run through. So my quick 6, Ace's quick 6 we're just gonna do straight up on the NFL Week 18 games. Let's see here. Cardinals, Rams both need to win. I think both of them win.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
I think the Saints win.
Oh, yeah.
And then if we want to switch over to the NFC,
I like
or sorry,
Aaron's picks
AFC.
today.
Ravens again. So the Ravens are that sneaky team that if they win and a bunch of teams lose, the Ravens can get in. I still think they win against the Steelers. Who knows if they actually get into the playoffs? They need a lot of help from some other teams. I'm trying to look at playoff matchups instead of worthless games. Vikings, it's not. I'll just say Vikings. I got to finish on a high note there. The Vikings got to win this game.
Who are they playing? The Bears?
Bears, and then the Chiefs. I'll say the Chiefs. Oh, wait, no, I picked 4 teams. Whatever. Chiefs, Vikings. Who else did I say? Ravens. And then my locks are the Saints, the Cardinals, and the Rams.
I like them, Aaron. I like them.
Who are you guys taking for the college football championship? I'm saying Georgia in a landslide.
Georgia.
I think Georgia brings the house this time.
Come on. I'm going to eat. If you're going to give me Alabama, for sure, I'll say Bama.
What is it, Georgia by 7 right now? I think it's Georgia by 7.
No, I thought Alabama was favored. Oh, no, you're right. Georgia's favored by 3, 2.5.
Oh, okay.
3.
I'll take Georgia in the 3. I'd give it 3.
Okay.
I'd
I'll
give
take
it 3 to
Alabama.
Alabama.
I like it. Hopefully next
Roll
time.
Tide right out of the freaking championship.
Hopefully next time we do a podcast, the Saints will be in the playoffs. We also have a special guest coming next week for you guys. Can't wait for that one.
We actually have 2 possibly. I have a quarterback up in Alberta, Canada that wants to come on a podcast. He said our podcast is amazing. Thank you, Canadians.
Lots trying to move.
That's because they're locked down up there, so he has nothing to do but stroll through people's podcasts. He came across ours.
Hey, we'll take it.
We'll take anything we can get. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. We love you guys. Appreciate all your support.
Screw you, COVID.
And we will see you guys next time.